wait to see this one.
Of all the superstars on the roster, this guy is amongst the hardest working. That goes without saying.
Definitely shout out to Don Chaos. We know you got our back, and we got your back too, man. Denver, Colorado all day, brother. We're definitely going to hook up with you. Much love to Carnival Spirits for putting us on as well on this YouTube, man.
Shout out to you, Don Chaos, for, what is this episode, like 126 or something like that?
Yes, sir.
You've been putting in work, bro. Respect. Y'all doing some shit for the community, and the fam out there appreciate it. So just keep doing what y'all doing, you know what I mean?
Congrats to Don Chaos for 1,000 subscribers. Whoop, whoop.
Keep it going, man.
Congratulations, Don Chaos. Yes, keep it going, man. Good luck to you, fucking Don Chaos, and fucking hell yeah on your 1,000 fucking followers.
You know who it is. It's Ouija Mac, bitch. Shout out to Carnival Spirits. And fucking shout out to Don Chaos one time. You know what's going on.
This is my brother. Everyone, Don Chaos and Brother Lynch Hung here.
Yeah, and Carnival Spirits. What's up, man? Don Chaos. What's up? It's your boy Brother Lynch Hung. We out here tonight. Let's go.
Fuego Flames and my nigga Don Chaos. What's going on, B? It's my brother right here, my boy. Excuse the left, excuse the left.
Yo, what up, y'all? This is Don Chaos, and I'm with a very legendary man. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Hey, Sean. Yeah, we at the gathering, y'all.
Radio show of the year. This one's always controversial. Coming in number one, we got Hours of Chaos with Don Chaos. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, there. Congratulations, man. Don Chaos, Hours of Chaos.
Yo, 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 yo. What is good, everyone? This is your host. You already know who I am. I am Mr. D to the O to the N to the C to the H to the A to the O to the S. Your friendly neighborhood JUGGALO, the Carbon Millionaire. If you don't know, now you know. And if you still don't know, chat. Let him hear it. Of course, you know I'm your host. This is the Hours of Chaos podcast. This is episode 163, y'all. 163. We are so close to the 200th episode of the Hours of Chaos podcast. So close. Oh, come on. Let's get to like 22 reviews. Why? Because it's 222 of 22. Come on. I know we can get more views up than that. Come on, y'all. Make sure you guys are sharing this everywhere. Of course, we are going to be joined tonight by our guest, Claas. LSP's own Claas, also 1/3 of the Underground Avengers. He's going to be joining us tonight. He's going to come on here to promote his new album. We're going to delve into what we do with a lot of our guests, where you guys get to know them a little bit, where they give their brief history. But our guest tonight just so happens to have a new album out. And if you guys haven't heard it, you need to listen to it. It's fire. So yeah, our guest tonight has a new album out called This Is Revenge. Go and pick it up Links down in the description, of course, for our guests, as well as your boy socials. So, yeah. Let's do what we do. Get into some topics, and then let's go ahead and bring our guest on. What is up, everyone in the chat? So yeah, make sure you guys are sharing everywhere, all over social media, all over YouTube. If there's any groups you're in on YouTube, share this everywhere. And I mean everywhere. I'm excited for this. You know, you could say it's almost been put in the stars. The planets have aligned to get Claas on. We've been trying to get him on here for quite a while, and you could say that the stars aligned, the planets aligned, and that's dope, because what better yet to come on than when you have a new album to promote. So let's get into our first I want to give a little shout out to the one and only Lakeland Lunacy, whose birthday was the other day. Shouts to Lakeland. Hope you had a great birthday, bro. Also, shouts to Lakeland, who did art piece for the one and only Amanda Panda, also known as Lady Chaos. This is artwork for my lady that he did. Also, if you guys haven't peeped, just today, Hatchet Chat with, MC Lars and MC Snacks. MC Snacks just did the latest review for the Wicked Vic EP. Again, I will be doing a full-on review. I actually went ahead and ordered it the second the hard copies went available on Psychopathic Vault. I ordered not one, but I ordered 2 copies. 1 copy for myself, and then 1 I will be giving away to you guys. So yes, check out the latest episode of Hatchet Chat with MC Snacks on Wicked Vic. So while you guys are here in the chat right now, what do you guys think of Wicked Vic? Like I said, I did a first impressions on it, and then I will do a full-on review, because I found out that in the booklet of Wicked Vic explains what the meaning of Wicked Vic is. So you might now see me doing videos explaining when each seed drops what each of them means, like reading the meaning behind them. Also, and again, shouts to Lakeland as well, who did another dope art piece for the one and only Roadside Ghost. Roadside Ghost, who's featured on Ain't No Time. This is a piece that Lakeland recently did for them as well. Oh, we are getting so close to 22 viewers, y'all. Let's get to 22 viewers, and let's get to 22 likes or even more. I know you guys can do better than this, because this is the new time for the Hours of Chaos podcast on Tuesdays. The new day will always be Tuesday, and the time will always be either at 6 or 7. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and send the link on, and we are going to bring our guests on the show. We are getting so close to the 200th episode of the Hours of Chaos podcast. And we are getting close to the 5-year anniversary of this show. So that's dope. I'm going to go ahead and send the link to our guest. All right, y'all. The link is sent to our guest. So now we wait. So how is everyone tonight? Hopefully everyone's doing good. Make sure you're thumbs upping this stream. Make sure you're sharing this all over social media, letting people know that we are live and direct. Let me get an LSP in the chat, y'all. Also, if you guys are watching exclusively on Carnival Spirits, super chats are welcome. So, yeah. What is up, Roxy? What is up? What is up? What is up? So, yeah, now you guys will be able to catch the Hours of Chaos podcast every Tuesday and the start time will always be between 6 and 7 local time. I don't know about y'all, but it was really cold here in Denver. It was like -1 degrees here. What is up, Shayna? Yeah, how's everyone else doing? Hopefully everyone's doing good. We have a whole slew of good music that's been coming out. We had Wicked Vic that just dropped. We had King ISO's Get Well Soon album drop, which, if you guys still haven't heard that new King ISO, you really need to. You gonna send me something? Oh yeah, send it away. How you doing, Curtis? What did you send, Lakeland? Oh, what is this? Oh, shit. All right, y'all. Time to let our guest on. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to our guest, the one and only Claas.
What's going on?
Nothing much. Thank you for joining the show, man.
Oh, yeah?
I know we've been trying to get you on here for a while, so I guess you could say everything worked out perfectly.
Yeah, good timing right now.
Yeah, especially when you have a new album out.
Yeah, for real.
So I guess what we'll do is like what I do with a lot of my guests is you just give like a brief introduction, who you are, where you're from, like a little brief history of yourself, and then we will like ask with the questions.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm Claas. I represent LSP. Been around for a minute. Pretty much done everything and everything you can in music. And yeah, I mean, that's just who I am. I mean, I'm from Texas, from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, to be exact. I mean, but I'm an Army brat, so I've been all over the country, and I was born overseas. So that's me, normal fucking guy.
Hell yeah. And how long have you actually been doing music, for those that don't know?
Since about 2003, 2004ish.
Damn.
I think me and McNasty did our thing in like 2002, 2003ish. I started doing solo shit around 05. So yeah, I mean shit about 20 years now.
Yeah, so you could be pretty much a veteran considered in this stuff now.
Shit, I'm damn near a vampire at this point. My longevity is outweighing itself.
Oh yeah, and if you can remember, like, how old were you like when you wrote your first like rap, or what inspired you to start writing music?
I mean, I was always into it. We used to do, all that old school shit in high school with like the table beats and
Same.
fucking around and stuff. And man, I honestly I didn't write anything until I think I was like 20, like maybe. I didn't really, think about getting into music. I was working for a like underground juggalo website called riders.com at the time. It doesn't exist anymore, but it did back then. And they also had like a label, and McNasty was one of the artists on that label. And so I just kind of fell into knowing him and finding out he did music and hearing him and all that. And that was kind of my pathway into getting into music and basically, starting to rap and everything like that.
Yeah, I look back and I like when I was like listening to like the original Tales from the Lotus, and when they said all his websites, I'm like, I wonder if some of those websites are still around.
Yeah, I mean, shit, myself. Yeah, I worked for Riders, which I think was called out, and then I worked for Real Juggalos, which I know was called out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what do you know? That's cool. We have the big homie Insane Poetry in the chat.
What's up, IP?
Hell yeah. And have you always been Claas, or did you go by other names when you started rapping?
Nah, way back in the day, I went by like MK and then I decided to switch it up, and so I looked into like root forms of my actual name, and that's how I came up with Claas. Like whenever you break my real name down, which is Nicholas, Claas is one of the alternatives. And so I was like, man, that sounds pretty dope. And so I don't know. I think it's pronounced more Claus, but I thought Claas sounded pretty dope.
Hell yeah. And if you can remember, like, what's like the first like branch of music that you like grabbed your attention, that like made you fall in love with music, even if it's the most thing that makes people go, okay, but that's how everyone is. Everyone has that first song that makes them fall in love with music where you're like, what is that?
Man, I don't honestly know. I know like my parents always listened to music when I was little. As I grew up, I enjoyed hip hop in general, but I mean, I was into a lot of stuff. I mean, on my mom's side, she was always listening to like top 40 stuff, and then her family listened to like, country, like Hank Williams and shit like that. And then on my dad's side, they listened to like soul and R&B and shit like that. And I gravitated to to rock and hip hop. So, but I don't honestly know the exact moment I was like, man, like this seems cool. I just always kind of dug the rhythm and the feeling music gives you, like the way it can basically transcendently just kind of make you move without you even knowing you're moving. You know, like that's what's cool to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I come from. I come from a diverse family background now. Obviously, my parents were like listening to old school rock and all that around me growing up.
Yeah, yeah. I've listened to classic rock and all kinds of stuff, man. It just, it doesn't really matter the genre. There's always something that, like I said, you might not even notice you're moving, but it's got you. And like that's one of the coolest things about music. Like it just, it basically attacks your soul in a way that a lot of things don't.
Like that's why there's this one book I recommend. It like tries to explain why people are into music. I recommend people read. It's a good read. It's called "This Is Your Brain on Music: The Science of a Human Mind." I heard it's really good. Like it explains, maybe the beat catches your attention, and then maybe the lyrics start to be relatable. It's a good read.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That sounds like a dope book.
Oh yeah. And do you and McNasty still do music together occasionally?
Yeah, yeah. He was on a project I did, the second project I did for LSP. We haven't done anything recently, but yeah, we talked about it. We almost did another EP. We had a group called Full Scale Riot way back. That's what we started with, from me and him. And we almost did another record for that. It just couldn't come together, so it kind of fell apart. But I still want to do it, and I know me and him have talked about, fucking around and doing it here eventually. So hopefully that happens.
Hell yeah. Now that's what I like about you, is you do your own solo stuff and then you do like group side projects. Like for those that don't know, you're part of the third member of Underground Avengers.
Yeah, like I dig that shit. I mean, what I did, I was in Full Scale Riot. I've done UGA. Me and Hex do Violence. I mean, it's cool to be able to bounce ideas and stuff off of other creative minds and kind of formulate something through that process. So that shit's always been fun to me. Like I almost like that more than, writing solo records, because I'll be honest, like you also have the benefit of only having to write like one verse. Like I don't have to write 2 or 3 for myself for one song. So the process is like way easier in that aspect.
Hell yeah. And you've definitely like worked with a lot of like big name people like right now.
Yeah.
And one thing I've loved about all your albums is you always like always change up like just a little bit. Like you're not afraid to go outside your comfort zone and experiment. Those are the kind of artists that I love, that aren't afraid to experiment a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been me, and I always want to be that person. I never want to mimic the last thing I did. I mean, I wanted to have, obviously the tone and undertones of who I am overall, but I wanted to have something new and, slightly different to it each time, so that it's new to the listener. So it's not just, oh, here's the same thing. I mean, I get it. Some people can ride that wave, and people will never care. But in my opinion, like it's got to constantly evolve for me to want to, do it. Like it's like I got to be growing and expanding and finding new ways to, basically motivate myself. Instead of just, the same old song and dance every fucking record.
Exactly. And I tell people it's okay to experiment, but as long as you never forget your roots, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, you're always going to know it's me. Like, my, the way I rap,
Oh yeah. You have that very unique voice that automatically, when I hear it, I'm like, yep, that's Claas.
Yeah. You're going to know it's me no matter what, but it's fun to, branch out and have other elements inside your music, if you get the chance to.
Hell yeah. And for those that don't know, how did you actually link up with like LSP, for those that don't know the history?
I was doing my own thing at the time and had kind of felt like I was going to bow out of music. Wasn't really feeling it no more. Felt like I kind of had done everything I could at that time. And a homeboy of mine who lives out here, was like, well, why don't you, have you ever thought about talking to Scum, you know, and LSP and all that? And, you know, I was like, well, you know, I mean, you know, it's at least worth the conversation, you know, because I had been friends with those guys for a minute, you know, a lot of them on the label, you know, were really good friends of mine. And so Scum came into town and we had a good conversation. And then he had a conversation with some other people and they were completely down with it also. And so, you know, when all that came together, we laid low on it for, I mean, I want to say almost a year from the time that I started working on the first record to the time we announced me at the gathering, because we announced it at the when we did the very first 50 Shades of Snuff.
I still watch that footage to this day. That footage,
Yeah.
I request everyone watches that, and that's something that I always demand that they need to bring back to the gathering and make an annual thing.
Yeah, man, both times have been sick. I mean, both times
because that's a good way to showcase everyone on the label.
Yeah, I mean, which is hard to do unless you're gonna, you know, put basically, you know, 12 LSP sets on, you know, throughout the gathering. But yeah, so we announced it at that gathering, the very first 50 Shades of Snuff, and everybody was digging it. And then I think I put out my first album about a year or so after that.
Oh yeah. And if you can remember, like, what's like the first like album that you remember like buying with your own money?
The very first album I bought with my own money was the Fugees.
Hell yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, that album was one of the dopest albums ever. You know, still to this day. I mean, that whole album is just, you know, like we were saying, you know, when you can add all kinds of elements, you know, and there's some rock undertones, there's soul, there's R&B, there's hip hop. I mean, like that album, you know, goes everywhere. It's such a great album.
And that's one of the many reasons why I've always loved Tech Nine. I tell people, yes, he started out as a rapper, but I don't see him just as a rapper. I'm like, he's an artist because he's so diverse now.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody thrives to get to. Like, you know, creatively, I feel like I'm an artist right now. Like, you know, and I've been doing this a long time, and for years and years, I just felt like I rapped, like it was just rap, you know. And like right now, I think I'm to a point where I feel like an artist. Like I feel like I'm building song. I'm not just making, like, you know, I'm not just rapping. Like I'm building songs. I'm adding these other elements in, like, you know, rock and metal, and you know, and like these different waves of stuff, and it gets creative. It's like you know, it's almost like painting a picture, you know, the way, you know, you put shit together at this point. So it's pretty fucking dope to be in that frame of mind when you're coming up with shit creatively.
And what is your creative writing process? Like, some people have their own creative writing process. Sometimes they'll just listen to the beats for inspiration, or maybe something's going on in their life that inspires them to write something.
Some of it's that, some of it is just what's going on at the time. Like on this new record, like if you've listened to it, you can tell that some of it is just shit that's going on. Some of it's just hanging out, watching TV. A lot of it's, you know, I do a lot of wrestling puns because I'm a big fan of wrestling, so I toss a lot of wrestling shit in there. My actual creative process in general, for the most part, I'll listen to a beat one time, and that's it. Like I can't sit there with it. Like I know a lot of people, whenever if I go to record with them, they'll have the beat playing over and over and over and over again as they write, and creatively I can't function like that. I like to hear it just once, and once I hear it that one time, I'm good. It's in my brain, you know. I know the cadence and everything, and then I write. You know, I'll fuck around and write, and then I'll go back to it eventually and see where I'm at, and then, you know, and then I'll go back to writing. And you know, sometimes it might take days. A lot of times it takes me 30, 45 minutes to write the song, just depending on how well my mind is working that day. But yeah, I like to hear it and get it and know it and then be done with it, so that I can just freely write. And I'm not, you know, I don't want to be exactly trying to write to the beat. Like I wanna write to write, you know, and then eventually I can mold it to the beat. You know, I just want to have the concept of what I'm thinking of.
Hell yeah. Like I know Scum always has said in interviews that some of the inspiration that he takes for writing his music is like the most effed up stuff that he hears on the news and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Scum has a wild mind, man, but that dude writes he kills it. He writes so damn much, man. It's crazy to me. Like
And
I
that's why
write
I've
a
always like loved LSP, especially being from Colorado. I've watched it grow from like a small label from the beginning to the powerhouse that it is today. And that's one thing I tell people, that everyone on the label has their own unique style and spin on wicked shit and horrorcore that they do.
Yeah, I know that is one of the best parts about it. And that was one thing, you know, whenever I was joining the label that, you know, I considered, because I don't, you know, I'm not doing what Scum does. I wasn't doing what Dark Half was at the time. You know, I'm not IP. You know, if anything, I'm closer to Liquid Assassin. You know, but they already had him. You know, so it was like one of those things where it was like, you know, where would I fit in? You know, but you know, it's been cool because like people have just kind of dug me for what I do. You know, and I go all kinds of ways. You know, whether Wicked or not. You know, and then, you know, sometimes when I'm not, you know, there's still the undertones of weight, you know, it's always there, you know, but I may not, you know, go, you know, as wicked as I used to. But then again, you know, then we do shit like Violence, you know, which is, you know, heavy and darker material and shit like that. So, but it's been cool because people have dug it, even if I'm not, you know, fucking talking about the shit that Scum talks about.
And you've also done a lot of great shows, like with like a lot of big name people. Like if you could pick, and if you like all of them, that's fine. But what's probably like one of your favorite shows that you've performed for?
Man, to be honest, the coolest show I've ever done is in 2010. I actually I actually solo main staged The Gathering. I played at like 7 p.m., which is early, but you know what the fuck ever. You know how many people can say they main stage The Gathering? So that, I
Right.
mean, that's probably one of the coolest, especially because 2010 was a huge fucking gathering. And so yeah, I got to main stage that shit, which was pretty goddamn epic, man. It was cool as fuck to have been going to gatherings for that long, and you know, and be able to be up on that stage and rock in front of, you know, in front of everybody like that.
And how did you and like Buckshot and Boondocks like form like Underground Avengers? How did that idea come about?
That it kind of came on a whim. I had been talking to Buck. Me and Buck were talking, you know, had started talking to each other, and we're tossing around the idea of doing a couple songs to promote, you know, each other. Like, you know, I'll do a song with him on it. He'll do a song with me on it. We'll put that shit out. And then we got to a point where we were like, well, what if we do like a little project? And so we started talking about doing a project, and it just so happened at that time that Boondocks had left Psychopathic. And so there, you know, I guess Boondocks and Buckshot had been talking, and he basically, you know, laid it out to Boondocks like, you know, hey, I'm working on this project, you know, with Claas. We already got, you know, this much stuff going on. This is what we're trying to do. You know, what would you think about it? And you know, he was down with the idea. So that's how it formulated. You know, the whole, me, Buck, and Boondocks. And then it just so happened that the same year that we all decided to kind of do that, the fucking original Avengers movie came out. So, you know, that's kind of where the Underground Avengers thing came, because, you know, it kind of went with the pattern of the movie, like, you know, three underground, you know, artists coming together, you know, to form an alliance, you know, and it was, you know, like the Avenger movie. So that's where that came from.
Well, and
So
I thought that was cool because you hadn't seen like real much like super groups in music for a while. And I think that's cool how like You're from Texas. Boondocks is from Georgia. Buck is from Kentucky. You guys are all from the southern part of the United States, but you guys have your own unique sound and flow, and you guys like bounce off of each other really well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we all are Southern, but we all sound, dramatically different, but so yeah, man, when that project came together, it was pretty dope. We put out that first record in 2011, and that was it. I mean, shit, that was the start of it. I went out to Louisville and recorded all my shit for that record, and me and Buck hung out a bunch and shit, and so got to know each other a lot better, and so that that was it, man. It kind of started the whole rolling of the ball with what we're doing with the Underground Avengers right now, which has kind of created its own mystique, and which is dope because I mean it's based off of comic and nerd shit, like it's following in that lore, like it's created its own fucking universe at this point. UGA has.
Yeah, there's another group I listen to that does that. Like, have you ever heard of Czarface?
Yeah, I've heard of Czarface.
Yeah, I love those dudes. I say those dudes need to get a set at the Gathering. That would be lit.
That would be dope, man, because they've been doing it for a minute.
Hell yeah. And tell us a little bit about this new album, like Revenge and stuff.
New album's out now. It's called This Is Revenge.
There it is.
It's I feel like it's the best project that I put out so far. Even aside from the guests that I have on it, I just mean song for song for song. I don't think there's a dull point on it. It's strong in every facet. I mean, I do a lot of metal shit on here. Like there's at least one full metal song. Time Bomb is basically all rock. And I mean that's it, man. Like the entire premise is the aspect of revenge, but through the eyes of the artist, and as where most people would think the revenge would be towards other artists, the revenge is towards fans, and it's like this premise on everyone that never wanted to take the time to listen. Well, here I am now where I've grown and grown and grown, and here's this electric ass album that's going to force you to listen, and it's hard to deny how strong the album is, and and so that's what it was, man. And I mean, like fucking Kung Fu's on it, Cage, Boondocks and Buck are on it. I mean, there's some good, the little homies out here, Sick Noise and Chomp are on it. Like, I mean, it's a dope album, man. If you hadn't had a chance to go listen to it, please, by all means, check it out. It's available everywhere.
I love that track that you did with Kung Fu and the ROC.
Yeah, and then we got that lyric video on YouTube right now, but that one's dope, man. I'll be real.
I didn't know that was Kung Fu at first. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, holy shit.
He sounds mad different, doesn't he?
And I like how he can change up his flow too.
That's what I like the most about it too, is that he doesn't sound like he does on a lot of other songs, which is great, man, because it shows how versatile that dude is too. Because I mean, he's talented as fuck. And that, I mean, so that song came together. The ROC is one of my favorite artists ever.
Oh yeah, mine too. I always tell people that dude, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated rappers out there.
By far, man. That dude is lyrically gifted. He's one of the most talented dudes on earth in rap. He doesn't get the credit he near deserves, but I'm very happy he was able to come through on my record.
Yeah, and he's a very humble dude too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And then what can we also expect from you? Can we got a question in the chat from someone saying, could we maybe expect a new Underground Avengers album or release somewhere down the line?
There's always the chance. I mean, I'll never say that, you won't, but it's a matter of timing. Like I said, it's kind of grown its own lore. So, and it's not a normal like thing where you just kind of keep pushing out records and record after record. Like, we did a record, we waited 7 years, we did 2 records back to back, and now it's time to wait and see where the story goes. If you
And I
listen to,
think you guys are trying to do that, like make the mystique of it, like where it comes out like once in a while to like build that anticipation. Like the way I see it, almost does give you like Dark Lotus vibes where you're like, oh, it's coming out. We haven't had one in a while. Perfect timing.
yeah, well, I mean, even if you listen to the record, like they all go together. Like if you listen to the records, they all kind of tie into each other like a movie. So you kind of get an idea of what's happening if you listen to Dark Matter and where we're at in the story. And so, at some point, the Avengers might be needed again, and at that point, we'll come back together and do our thing.
Hell yeah. I've always loved that concept. Like I was like, I could like see this like being made into like an animated like series or something.
Yeah, man, that'd be
Or
sick.
you guys like making it into like a little graphic novel series.
That'd be dope too, like little comic books. That'd be super sick.
Yeah, because I'm really like big into comic books too.
Yeah, no, that'd be dope. That's a dope idea. Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, we me and Buck talked about at one point, like some sort of like comic and shit like that. But who knows? Like, I mean, if it can happen, it'll happen. Buck will put it out. So, it's just we'll see where we go from here.
And I don't know if you've ever been asked this question, like when any of you guys have been interviewed together or individually, but which Avenger do you think you would probably represent if you could, like represents you perfectly?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, the one they peg me as is Captain America, but
I've always said I'm more like Captain America because I'm all about that moral code and stuff.
yeah, man, it's hard to tell because that's a good one, man, because it's like the protector and that the vibe he gives off. Man, I to be honest, I'm probably more Thor, and I'm probably more current Thor, where it be because I no matter what I'm doing, I still dig the party and still dig still dig kicking back and and drinking, but when it comes time for work, I'm there. So yeah, probably Thor, man. Like that dude's wild.
Yeah,
But he's always ready.
me and JP like had that discussion where we're saying for some reason it seems like always hip hop, rap music, and comic books have always gone well together, always, and that's always how it's been. Like both those cultures have like always gone so well together.
I think so, man. I mean, I couldn't pinpoint why, but there's just there's an aspect to the way comics flow that just coincides with the way hip hop moves also. It's kind of dope to always put those two together. And I mean, it's been done, so many times by so many artists. I knew Wu-Tang did that shit a lot, in their early time, they did a lot of comic stuff.
Yep, and then they sampled a lot of kung fu movies from back in the day.
Yeah, that's shit. I mean, yeah, there's something about comics and hip hop that'll always tie in together.
Hell yeah! And could we actually expect like a new Violence album between you and Hex Rated?
Yeah, hopefully we get that done too, man. We've been working on it slowly because both of us have been working on other projects also at the same time. So you got to kind of find the balance to get all that shit done. But we dug the shit out of the first one, and we've already
me too.
We've got some really dope collabs that we've already knocked out for the second one that are actually like pretty dope. So it'll get done now that I'm done with this record, and I think Hex has the time too. That'll probably be next on the agenda, is to try to get a second Violence record knocked out so we can put that out maybe sometime, this summer or early fall.
Oh yeah. And like I've told him, and I'll let you know, whenever you guys do get that done, just let me know, and you guys are always welcome on the show to come on here to promote that.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be dope.
And how did that actually come apart where you two decided to work together and form a duo together?
That was just kind of like, me and him kind of have a bond, man. Like we're good friends. We're both kind of similar in what we do as far as it goes with like being aggressive, the way the aggressive thing is. And we were just kind of, fucking talking about it one day, like, man, we should do a group project. And, we ran it by Scum and he was like, okay, cool. And we were trying to figure out what to call it. And, and then we had come up with Violence. And then we were like, well, let's call it Violence, but let's take all the vowels out. Let's just, all it'll be is like the letters, like a fucking, like a team jacket, so.
Oh yeah.
So then we started working on the project, man, and it went well, man. It was like, because we basically could, be slightly different than we are normal with our normal records. We did shit on, a little bit differently, how, a lot of the songs don't even have choruses. They just go me or him start, and then we follow each other, and then it's done. A lot of the songs are real short, because that was the whole premise. Violence is quick. You never see it coming. And it can happen in moments. And so we kind of did the whole record based off of that thought. Like, we're just gonna do these songs, not really worried about how they're structured, and just that's it. That it'll be what it is.
Oh yeah. And if no one's ever seen your show, I gotta say, is y'all need to watch this man's show. This man like rocks the mic like crazy live.
Yeah, I'm crazy with it, man. Me and a couple of the homies, Sick Noise and Chomper, they usually join me on stage, sometimes just Sick Noise. But yeah, we go crazy. Like it's nonstop from start to finish. Like we don't there's no breaks.
Like, I'm trying to remember, I think one time at a show here in Denver, you were like, all right, fuck it, and you got off stage and started moshing as you were performing.
I probably have done that. I wouldn't put it past me. I've thrown him off the stage. I've jumped off the stage. Like, yeah, we're wild, man. Like that's how I like it. Like it's a quick punch in the face. 20, 30 minutes. I'm gonna get up there. I'm gonna punch you in the face, and I'm gonna get the fuck off.
Hell yeah, that's one thing I've always loved about your show. It's like just so energetic, and that's what I love about it. Like I told people, you go to an LSP show, it's gonna be pandemonium, but in a good way.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, no matter what, the majority of our artists, it's gonna be a crazy show, like start to finish. Everybody has mad energy. We do a lot of stuff together. We keep it upbeat the whole time. Like nobody really, gives you time to rest. Like we just start and go at it.
Yeah, that's why Scum is like a very good businessman. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to approach situations.
Yeah, for real, 100%.
And everyone's always said he seems like an intimidating dude, but then once you meet him, he's like the most chill, humble, knowledgeable dude that you could take advice from.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest guys I've met. Like, don't let his music fool you. That guy's nice as fuck.
Mm-hmm. It's what we always tell everyone. And where do you hope to see your music, like maybe years from now? Where do you hope to take your music?
Shit, I don't know, man. Like at this point, at some point it all has to come to an end. So we'll see, man. Like I still feel like I'm hitting my stride. I feel like, I don't, this record, I feel like, is nearing the peak of what I'm capable of. So we'll see, man. I still got shit in me. So, hopefully I can knock out, another EP or record this year and get that dropped. And then we'll see if I can't get some some of these other projects I want to do with like McNasty, and I've tried to talk Shy One into doing a record because we had a little mini group back in the day, and another Violence record, and who knows, man. Sky's the limit, but I'm trying to get everything in I can, now, to I ain't getting any younger, so let's get this shit
Exactly. And
going.
I noticed something like that the last few years. Like a lot more people are now being creative. Like in this day and age, you constantly have to like be putting something out these days. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Whether it's a single, something.
which is cool but sucks at the same time, because it kind of crushes the creative process, man, to have to feel like you have to put out a song every 2 weeks to stay relevant. You don't get time to, put records together like you used to.
Yeah, like back in those days, we would like wait maybe a year or two before
Yeah,
like a new album would drop. Like
and
with Wu Tang, they would drop a Wu Tang album, and then in between it, there would be like solo albums by each of them in between.
yeah, and that was one of the dopest things is that, the anticipation, for that next record is what made it so dope. And like nowadays it's like you don't really get that anymore. It's like people are trying to push projects so quickly, because it's such a here today, gone tomorrow society now with the way people can get music and how many people do music. So it's kind of shitty, but at the same time, it is what it is. So, you know, the only thing you can do is just try to, do your best to keep pumping music out, as much as you can, or, do like me and wait 2.5 years to put a record out. Is what it
Hell
is.
yeah. And we got a question earlier in the chat saying, what are some of your biggest inspirations in music? Like, what are some of the artists that really inspired you?
A lot of it was like early, I guess, like late '90s, early 2000s stuff was a lot of the stuff. DMX and Ice Cube were big
Oh yeah.
into me wanting to rap, and they're big into why. I do have such an aggressive sound. Bands like Nirvana, Exhibit. I loved Exhibit and how gruff he was, which is, half the reason, my voice is so much different when it comes to the records and, the way I, do my thing. And, I was listening to ICP and Twisted back then. And, just all that stuff kind of, kind of meshed together that late '90s, early to mid 2000s sound. That's where I got a lot of my influence from, and a lot of the shit I do. Um, the way I put words together, the way how aggressive I am, the way my shows are. I was listening to a lot of and going to a lot of punk rock shows in the early 2000s here in Texas, and that's a lot of the vibe of my show and where I got it from, and why my show's not like a normal hip hop show. Like I was watching, like these punk and rock bands, go for 30 minutes just, back and forth on stage and jumping and running and just doing all this wild shit. And that's where I learned to perform, so that's why my live show is the way it is too, is because it's more ode to old punk shows. Like we like to get up there and just be fucking insane, and
Yeah, I noticed a lot of like rap and hip hop is starting to take that turn where the crowd is getting live and wild, and sometimes you
yeah.
almost forget you're at a rap show. You think you're at a rock show.
Yeah, I know. For so many years, rappers just kind of stood there. Even underground, they just stand there and rap, and there wouldn't be like a whole lot of movement. And not me, man. I'm a big ass dude, but like we run back and forth across that stage, and we're fucking insane.
Oh
So,
yeah, I've watched you do like front flips into the crowd and shit.
so that's where a lot of my influence came from, man. Like the late '90s, early 2000s. Like that was the prime of my fucking youth. I was 18 to 25 around that time, which is the perfect time for all that shit to come out in my life. So I just kind of took bits of all of that and kind of, that's what made me me.
Yeah, I've seen like Suicide Boys, and holy shit, they are lit live. Like holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it's turned a corner where all these new age kids get it. Like instead of just standing there with the mic, like fucking be all over the place, man. In the crowd, out of the crowd, wherever you can be. Like make it
Yeah, I
fun.
remember when I saw ICP a lot. Like when I saw them for like the Great Malenko 20th tour, I literally saw Jay jump in the crowd and crowd surf. I'm like, holy shit, I've not seen him do that in years.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day when, like I said, around that time all this shit was influencing me, they were even crazier, man. They used to power bomb and shit each other in the crowd, and like
Yeah, I heard Texas shows are insane.
they were absolutely insane, man. And it was like watching it. It was just like, holy shit! Like this is the greatest shit ever, man.
Yeah, and to know that they still rock the stage really well after all these years.
Yeah, yeah, for real. They still
Like I
kill it.
recently saw them like in Detroit, and I told people, yeah, seeing them in your home city is cool, but there's nothing like seeing them in Detroit on Halloween. It's like a different atmosphere.
Yeah, no, man, I would agree.
Same with the
Yeah,
Gathering. When you see them at the Gathering, the atmosphere is so just intense and awesome.
yeah, that pit is one of the wildest places to be. That gathering ICP pit.
Yeah, when I went last year, that whole like bizarre set brought me back, and it was cool to like see that set.
Yeah, that's still one of my favorite records.
And they like encouraged people to come on stage. So here I am recording while rushing the stage, having skills while recording while I'm jumping the barricade, and that takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it does. Well, especially with 100 other people trying to do the same thing you're doing.
Yep. I was like, okay, if I fall, I fall. Fuck it. But luckily I didn't. I landed right on my feet. My phone is still in my hand, recording everything good.
Oh, yeah.
So what's probably the wildest, like craziest thing, or if you can remember, like what was your very first clown show that you went to?
Shit. I want Man, it's been so long. This was like 90, 98, 99, I guess would be. My first shows around the time I was like 17 and 18 is when I started going to shows. Um but I don't remember specific shows, man. It's been so fucking long. I mean, I remember going to like Wicked Clowns from Outer Space and Hatchet Rising
Yeah, that's like
and
me.
all these.
Sometimes the shows mash together sometimes
Yeah.
because of stuff.
I remember some we used to have a club out here that had these like railings and shit, and it was like this they were like sidebars and shit, and they came through for when Jekyll Brothers had come out, and man, it was insane, dude. People were fucking, wanting to flip cars and all kinds of shit. And then like whenever the show was going off, people were hanging in the rafters. The pit was absolutely insane to where you couldn't breathe. But it was dope as shit. Every time they would come here, it was complete anarchy, which was fucking fun in the early 2000s. Like we got away with a lot of shit outside waiting for it to be let into a show.
Yeah, a lot of people used to say the shows were crazy. I'm like, you think that was crazy? You should have seen before the show, just waiting in line sometimes.
Yeah, the line was one of the wildest parts. Just
And
waiting
that
to
was
get
always
in
the
there.
best part too, was the line, like just kicking it with people, like passing a 40 on to someone or a blunt. It's like, here you go.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Out here was nuts, man. It was always a fun time, seeing all the homies, and once you got into the show, just basically, kicking it, waiting for the clowns to come on and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
waiting to see what stage set they had this time. That was one of the funnest parts too.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I've always liked is how their stage is always set up. They always like change it like differently. Like one of my favorite stage sets that they ever did was the stage set for the Bang Pow Boom tour.
I don't even remember that one, man. It's been so long.
Yeah, that one they like brought back like many faces on stage. They brought 8 Boy back, which is their slideshow things that they used to have on their stage.
That's crazy.
And then they brought Legs Diamond out, like announcing them as like a ring announcer. It was cool.
I do remember Legs coming out a few times because I remember one tour where they were in cages and Lex came out and announced, and then they would pull the sheet from off the cage and they'd be inside the cage. And then I remember I think it was the O2 gathering where they came out like Hannibal Lecter, like on fucking gurneys and shit. And like, so that, yeah, there's been some really dope intros too that I remember.
Yeah, I've always told people that's one thing I've always loved about them is not just their music, but the way their theatrics and their show is. Like, I brought my mom to a show and she wasn't really into stuff. But once I brought her to a show, she's like, now I see why you do enjoy them. They do put on a good show.
Yeah, it's one thing that'll always be undeniable. Like, they put on a great show.
Hell yeah. And we forgot to mention this earlier, but how is like the music scene or the underground scene in Texas in your area or the state of Texas in general?
It's good. It's getting better. There was a gap for a while where, you know, it wasn't doing too well, but you know, there's a lot of artists out here trying to help pick it back up and move again. And you know, one of the hardest things is, you know, there's a lot of great artists out here, but you know, everybody's so far away because of how big the state is. So, you know, some spots are 4 or 5 hours away. So it's hard to really, you know, make the whole state, you know, together and have these really gigantic, you know, underground shows. But
yeah, and I've noticed that with Texas, like there was always like back in the day, like there was like few and far in between rappers in Texas. Like you had, of course, the Ghetto Boys from Houston, and then you had like underground kings and whatnot.
Yeah, like it's super spread out, obviously. I mean, with the state being as big as it is, but like I said, it's getting better, man. I mean, out here is going dope. Like we're slowly rebuilding the shit out of it out here, and shows are getting bigger and bigger, and you know, a lot of these up and coming artists are, you know, starting to make waves. So you know, I think it's just you know, it's just a matter of time before. I think a lot of places are the same. It's just a matter of time before, you know, underground goes back to being, you know, big again, especially, you know, obviously with the pandemic and all that shit, you know, kind of.
Yeah, I know the pandemic made a lot of artists, like really get more creative and get that drive and stuff back.
Yeah, I mean, you had to with not being able to go out and just do shows and, you know, stuff like that.
It was like therapy for you guys. So that's why for me and the audience, like we want to say thank you because it was therapy for you guys putting out music during that, but it was also therapy for you guys as well as it was us.
Yeah, I mean, it was I guess probably a much needed break for music in general. You know, like there's so many artists and so much shit going on all the time that, you know, I think a lot of it loses I think you lose a lot of mystique and all that, you know, and people, you know, don't think about all that as much because they don't have to, because it's just going on all the time. So it's like, well, maybe I didn't catch that show, but you know, I'll catch the next one. Whereas, you know, when the pandemic hit and all that, you know, it was gone. You know, and you know, tours were canceling, you know, major tours, underground tours, everything was canceling. So I think now it's to a point where people kind of understand that, you know, well, maybe it's not, you know, just there. You know, maybe we should, you know, if someone's in town or, you know, this tour is coming to town, maybe we should get out there and have a good time and shit, because who knows, you know, when something like this will happen again and we're going to be, you know, without it again for however many years.
Oh yeah, like I've been telling people, and that's why I'm glad Scum is like one of the people at the forefront and saying underground unity, fuck all that divide shit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
And he's always told me, he's like, it's not just us artists that make this possible, but it's people like you, Don, that like have us on your shows, and the podcasters that promote our music. You guys play your part too in this scene.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot easier to promote and let people know what's going on with podcast and everything like that. I mean, you know, the world's changed. It used to be all flyers and magazines was the way you got out. But now with podcast and different forms of video apps, it's a lot easier to kind of put yourself out there and have others help you get your
Yeah,
word
that's what
out.
I've always done. I've always liked to help people out. That's why in like the scene I'm like known as the Karma Millionaire, because I'm willing to help people out and never ask for anything else in return. I'm like, nope, I'm just here to help you out. I'm just humble and stuff.
Yeah, which is dope. Like, we need more people like that in the world.
And that's why that's why I wanted to start having guests on my show, because when I see people that have talent that deserve that recognition, I want to help that. Like, I'll have unknown people, I'll have up and coming people, I'll have people somewhat known, and then I'll have well-known people on there too. I like to have that diversity.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, I told you I appreciate it, man. Like, it gives me an outlet to kind of let people know about the album and stuff, and it's a good conversation too. So I appreciate it.
Or if you have any singles ever like that you want to drop, or if you want it played on the show for the first time, let me know, and I'll even premiere it on here for the first time.
Hell yeah, we might have some new videos and some new music here soon. So I definitely will.
Like I said, you're always welcome on the show anytime, bro.
Yeah.
And before we let you go, can your boy and Carnival Spirits get a shout out, and then you can shout out whoever else you want?
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to you, Don Chaos. I mean, I appreciate you having me on the show, and trying to put on more shows for the underground to get out there and get their name out, man. It's good for everybody, whether brand new or old. It's always good to have outlets. And just shout out to everyone, man. I can't see who's in chat or watching or who will watch, whenever you put this up on YouTube, but appreciate anybody that's checked out the album. It's been doing.
Oh, we're actually great live right now, so I can actually pull up the live chat and whatnot.
Nice. It's the response to the album has been fucking incredible so far.
Yeah, I love it.
I couldn't be happier. So if you haven't checked it out, please, it's available everywhere. You can still go to gorehop.com. We got shirts, CDs, all kinds of shit, posters, all that good stuff. And yeah, just, thank you to everybody that's, keeping me fucking alive in music. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Lakeland says shout outs to the Grizzly gang.
Grizzly? Nice.
Oh, I think he wanted me to show you something. Do you know anything about that Grizzly thing?
I don't.
Well, I wanted to show you like my homie's like artwork, because he like does artwork. So if you ever want him to do artwork for you for an album or for a t-shirt design, just like let him know.
Yeah, I'd be down. Hit me up on any of the socials. Just fucking DM me and all that, because I'm always looking for artwork people, because a lot of people go to the same people. I like to branch out and try to go to different people. Like I've had different people do all my stuff so far. Instead of just my shit looking like everybody else's. So I definitely like finding new artists.
Yeah, he's done like a lot of my logos. He's like done like my logo that you see in the corner. He's actually done album artwork for people, like the Project Born EP that they just dropped last year for Halloween. He actually did the album artwork for that.
Yeah, like I said, hit me up.
He's actually up for a Replicon Radio for artists, like designer of the year.
Yeah, hit me up. Definitely jump into DMs and get at me so we can talk for real.
But yeah, I think he wanted you to see this. Oh my God, this is funny. His take on stuff is just so funny the way he does it. It's perfect.
Oh, nice. That is dope. I mean, the shit looks damn near identical to what it used to, and I do like how the fucking guy is damn near the Hatchet Man. That's dope.
Oh, yeah. This is like some other artwork he's done for like my lady and whatnot.
Yeah,
he's just so creative with all that.
Yeah, like I said, man, anybody hit me up. If you do art, if you do video shit, anything. Hit me up. I'm
Oh,
open
yeah.
to everything.
And if there's like anyone in the industry that you haven't worked with that you would maybe want to work with, because I think the possibilities now these days are endless. I always say never say never.
Man, I don't know. Like, I would like to work with some bands. Honestly, that'd be dope. Exhibit is another one of my dream collabs. Like, I knocked out one with Cage this album. That was one of my dream collabs. I would love to work with Exhibit. I mean, I think that dude is dope as fuck. It would be cool as shit to be able to do something with Exhibit. I would like to do some, probably bands. I don't know exactly who yet, but probably some bigger name bands. If I could pull off getting some shit from them, that'd probably be dope as fuck. Because they're hard. Like that's a hard thing to maneuver. Like that's one of the hardest things to pull off is some sort of like collab with bands, because they're harder to contact than rappers.
Yes, they are. And that's one thing I could see you eventually with your show, like having like a live band with you performing.
Yeah, I've done it with the drummer and people love it. And I've thought about, doing a full live band thing, but I haven't done it yet. But we'll see. There's still time.
Yeah, I have plans to like do that. Like someday I have plans like to do like a whole like LSP like stream, like especially when LSP gets to like 30 years, or who knows, maybe even before that. So I might contact you soon for that.
Oh yeah, 5 more years is 25 years.
I know, it's insane. Like I said, I've watched it grow from a little local thing. And then when I heard we were starting to sign people from other states and different parts of the country, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Now it can only grow from here, man, especially with, these new younger cats that we're signing, like Devereaux and all these cats, man. Fucking, the Cody Manson, the Darby, the sky's the limit, bro. I mean, it's just opening the floodgates.
Yeah, Devereaux is a phenomenal producer.
Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of his stuff, and Cody is my dude. I fucking love Cody, man. So yeah, I mean, it's another 5 years ain't nothing. 25 years is right on the horizon, and we got a lot of really cool shit going on, man. Although everybody needs to tell Scum that the label needs to do a full label record. I try to tell them that shit out every year, that we need a record that's an LSP record with everybody on it, like the whole album, an entire LSP only album.
Scum, if you're watching, which we know you are, do it.
Just a song after song of LSP collabs. Like I don't care how we have to work it out. I'll
do
put
like an LSP and call it like the Snuff Gang mixtape or something.
Yeah, something like that, man. But man, I've been telling that dude for years we need to knock something out like that, man, because there's too much talent, and putting all that talent on one record together, only makes everything bigger for all of us. So
yeah, or do a whole LSP like cypher video.
Yeah, or something like that. I mean, if we could get it, man, that'd have to be at a Gore Fest or something when we have everybody in town. But that'd be sick as fuck too.
I mean, I'm even down to try to find a film company to eventually do an LSP like documentary on the label. That'd be cool.
I think that shit would be dope too. Like it deserves it. It deserves it, in my opinion.
We are basically a powerhouse, and that's why I tell people we've been around for so many years that a lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of a lot of artists, a lot of really good artists that have been on this label. There's a lot of really fucking good artists on this label right now, and there'll be a lot of good artists when the rest of us finally decide we're done. So, yeah, that is one thing that should happen as well. Somebody needs to make that documentary.
Who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line.
Yep.
Well, you definitely have a good night, man. Like I said, you're always welcome on here anytime.
I will, man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said, check out the record. It's available everywhere, or just go buy that motherfucker like the old school people on CD at gorehop.com. I appreciate the whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Thank you very much, man.
Hell yeah. We
Shout
have
out
all
Don
your links
Chaos.
down in the description to help you out.
Bet. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
Peace. Hell yeah. And that was the one and only Claas, y'all. LSP's own Claas. Make sure you guys go check out that new album titled This Is Revenge. And yeah, we're going to get into a few more topics. And I saw your message, Hip Hop Head. I can't play that track because it's on my phone. And I'm live on my phone. But yeah, go peep that out. Definitely one of my other favorite albums to come out this year. Again, LSP, we constantly always doing things, y'all. We all doing things, always. We're a very diverse label. We've got a very diverse team. And it's dope. Like I said, everyone on here does their own style, wicked shit, and horrorcore. That's what's dope. Also, in some news, before I let you guys go, we are getting so close to that new Light album. We are 17 days away. That new Light album, Metamorphosis. Definitely excited for that. Also going down is a Grim Reality show. Shouts to Grim Reality Entertainment. Most of all of Grim Reality, including my boys, Mr. Dosha, Beast Mode Warriors, Slice Wicked, and JP the Hustler are performing this show. So all of Grim Reality will almost be performing this show. This is definitely a show you don't want to miss. Also, ICP made a very heartfelt post on Facebook by the man himself, Violent J. Also going down is Razical's birthday bash show. If you guys are wanting to go, anyone wants to go to that. Oh, and the first and only introduction for this year in the WWE Hall of Fame. Big congrats to The Undertaker. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. One of my top favorite wrestlers of all time. Congratulations to The Undertaker finally being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And then going down March 18th, Crust Gang in the chat. The Crustcast show is going on, featuring performances by the homie Cody Manson, as well as Michael Lawless, Two Boots, and hosted by the amazing Jekyll Sisters. So if you guys want to go to Indianapolis, this is a show you don't want to miss. Definitely a good show. Well, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's definitely in the works to happen. Me and LB Sickening do have plans, Nobody Man, to do collab work where he appears here on the show and then I appear on his show. Like I said, I have plans to do more collab work with people. I see you, LB Sickening, in the chat. Okay. Let's see. What else do we got going on? We have the Shock and Rock show going down. You know, ICP's played here at Shock and Rock, which is a little convention, horror convention, and then I believe it's then music at night. And again, what do you guys feel about Wicked Vic? That's out. You know, that new Class is out. Go listen to it. Again, hit up Wicked Wood for booking inquiries. I saw them here in the chat earlier. What's good? And yeah. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat, y'all. Hell yeah. But yeah, me and LB Sickening have been talking about getting him on the show, and he has plans to have me on his show. Like I said, I'm willing to collaborate with people if people want to interview me or anything. Like I said, sometimes you got to reach out to people instead of always people reaching out to you. I mean, I've always been an approachable person, so thank you, LB Sickening, for approaching me. I'm down to do collab work with people or be as a guest on people's shows and just talk about this underground juggalo shit that we know and love. Because I love this underground juggalo indie scene. I've been in it since I was 7, 8, or 9 years old. I'm going to be 32 this year, so quite a long time, y'all. Yeah, I do have plans to do more collab work with people. And yeah, we'll definitely check it out. Yeah, an LSP cipher would be dope. But yeah. Yeah. Again, links down to all of Claas's socials, as well as where you guys can pick up his albums, listen to them, where you guys can listen to them. And if you like what you hear, links down also where you can pick up hard copies of his album, his own merchandise. You know, he has his own website called imclass.com, which he has his own merch store on there, as well as the LSP official web store called gorehopshop.com. But yeah, go check out Claas's album. This is Revenge. Really dope. Again, Claas, he doesn't disappoint. You guys will really love him. Again, thank you, Claas, for coming on the show. This was probably another very big interview. Very dope, y'all. I told you guys, stuff's just about to get better. And yeah, more guests lined up. And again, we are so close to the 200th episode of the Hours of Chaos podcast, as well as in April, we will be celebrating the 5th anniversary of doing this show. So I've been doing this show for 5 years, y'all. This podcast for 5 years. And what has inspired me to do this podcast always is my love and passion for this juggalo underground indie world that we are all a part of, this scene. I've had love for it since I was about 7, 8, 9 years old. I still have love for it. There's so many good artists out there that need to get noticed out there. And that's the whole point of having these guests on the show, is to help promote them while dropping some underground indie juggalo news for you guys, as well as news on stuff, maybe me saying my thoughts on other said topics going on. And now we are going, oh, I just got to put this out there for some people. Just saying. For life. And now, y'all, get ready, because we are going to announce our guest next Tuesday for the Hours of Chaos podcast. Drum roll. Our guest for the Hours of Chaos podcast next week, episode 164, is going to be the one and only, my dude, Jay Bazaar, coming on here to promote some stuff and to say what he has going on currently. And that's the whole best part I love about this show, is my guests are always welcome on the show. Like when we first have our guests on the show for the first time, you guys have seen we give into like a little their brief history. So you guys get to know a little bit about their history. And then whenever we have guests on here again, you get to see where they're at currently when we last talked to them. I think that's cool. That's what I love. Like, I've watched interviews for so many years, and that's where I base my interviews off of. Saying, okay, you can interview an artist more than once and now see where they are from the last time you interviewed them. And then you always let that guest know that whenever they have something going on, that they're always welcome to come back on the show to promote that. We all play our role. This is why the Hours of Chaos podcast is a podcast that is dedicated for the love of the Juggalo underground indie scene. It is strictly a Juggalo underground indie podcast where we drop news, we promote, and then we say the occasional thoughts on some stuff, like maybe movies. Like, for example, tonight we talked about Undertaker being inducted into the Hall of Fame. How dope that is to hear. And yeah. Definitely. Yep. 5 years, always grinding. Always. He would. Thank you. I know he would. Thank you. Yes. Let's have a moment of silence for DJ Run. And to all our fallen people, some of the people that we've lost. Ooh. I definitely need to check that out. Send me links to listen to that, Hip Hop Head. That's who I'm still trying to get on the show, too. True, but you gotta remember, Undertaker was still wrestling crazy after all of yours. pretty interesting, Lakeland. Pretty interesting. But yeah, if anything we've known, like, it shouldn't have taken these few years, but I've always been living moral by this code, always, for as long as I've been born. That life is short, y'all. Enjoy. Never hold grudge. Never try to hold grudges. If people backstab you, or where you feel like you have to question people's loyalty, just don't associate with those people anymore. But you guys have known, for those of you that have also met me in person, that even talk to me on a regular basis, I don't portray anything here on YouTube. I am the same person on here as I am in real life. I'm the same person on here as I am in real life. I don't portray a character or anything. I might say entertaining stuff every now and then for the sake of entertainment. That's different. And I'm just me. That's all I've ever known. I've seen a lot of people in this community that front a lot. They front and they fake the funk a lot. And you can see it a lot. What is up, B Clown? I know B Clown is very big into LSP, so B Clown, whenever you get the chance to rewatch this episode, enjoy it, bro. This episode is now, have created a playlist on my personal YouTube called LSP Interviews. So it's everyone so far on Team LSP, on our team, that I've interviewed. So this video is also already in that playlist, as well as it's also in the Hours of Chaos playlist on Carnival Spirits. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Also, this week, you guys can expect to see another episode of the Beastmaster Show. You know, you have the Beastmaster Show, you have the Hours of Chaos podcasts, you have both of us grinding and all that. And yeah, Beastmaster Show is this Friday or it's Saturday, one of the two. As far as I remember, he's doing them Fridays now. But yeah. What else do we got going on? Yeah. LSP, y'all. Let me get an LSP in the chat. So yeah, very dope. Oh yeah. And before I let you guys go, I'm going to leave you guys with the outro. So everyone in the chat, get ready. You guys already know who I am. I am Mr. D to the O to the N to the C to the H to the A to the O to the S. Your friendly neighborhood JUGGALO, the Karma Millionaire. If you don't know, now you know. And if you still don't know, then let's hear it. Nobody, man, with the official Cult of Chaos emojis. Oh, yeah. And make sure you guys are voting for the Replicon Radio Awards. Make sure you go vote. You know my picks to win podcast radio show of the year is the Beastmaster Show, because Beastmaster did do a lot last year. I pick his show to win, as I pick Shayna's show. There's a lot of, but don't just vote for radio show, YouTube, podcast. There is a lot of other good categories. Again, you can vote every day in every category. So you can click in each category every day. Like there's good categories. There's categories for artists of the year, which, you know, Lakeland is up for nomination. Yes, go vote. If, as you guys notice, always now in the live streams and the description of my video, is until the awards are over, there's going to be links down in the description to the awards, the polls where you can vote. Links also to the GoFundMe to get the awards made. Because if you guys know, the awards they made last year, they're going to start making awards like that, like the one I won last year. They're going to start making the awards like that out of that very beautiful glass structure. And those were not cheap to make. So links down also to the GoFundMe. You know, every little bit helps. Yeah, go vote. You know, if you believe that there's a lot of people that put in this hustle and grind for the underground, go vote. Again, vote in every category. There's a lot of dope nominations, and I know awards don't seem important to people, but isn't it good sometimes to be rewarded, knowing that you're being rewarded for all the hard work that you do? So yeah, go vote. You can vote in every poll, every category, once every day. You know, I've already had my picks. You know, Beastmaster Show. I have picks for Lakeland for Artist of the Year, for Music Video of the Year. I have picks for King ISO. You know, there's a lot of dope albums that came out last year. And yeah. There's a lot of good votes, y'all. There's a lot of good categories. And it's good to see our community get these awards, because if anyone always puts it hard, puts in always their hustle and grind, it's us here in the Juggalo underground indie scene. We put in that hard work. Even go vote for Team MUJ. Like I said, a lot of good categories. You know, this whole show, again, this whole podcast is dedicated to the underground and the indie scene and the Juggalo world. And it will continue to be like that for many years. You know, we've already started to get some very big guests on here, and the guests are going to just get bigger and bigger, y'all. And I thank you guys for this ride, continuing to, for the support. You know, I appreciate you guys. You know, again, I'm the same dude online as I am in real life for those that have met me. And for a lot of you that talk to me on a personal level. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And yeah. Another great show. And Lakeland, if you want to hit up Claas, I will link you his Instagram so you can hit him up. And yeah. I will see you guys next Tuesday on the Hours of Chaos podcast with our guest, Jay Bazaar, because he has some nuclear bombs to drop on you guys next week. Later, y'all. LSP. And I know I'll hear from a lot of you guys after this. Again, thank you all for the props and everything. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I tip my hat to you guys. Don Chaos, the Carbon Millionaire. Hard work pays off, y'all. Later.